You're listening to Podketeers.
Welcome to episode 375 of Podketeers. This week, Andrew tells us about his adventures finding Haunted Mansion merchandise. Imagineering gives us a glimpse into something called Project EXO. The Spider-Man No Way Home trailer was leaked, and then to everyone's surprise, we got an official one. We give our thoughts, and we address the rumors of Disney possibly buying Sony. Magic Keys are released this week, but we also talk about the announcement of the new service called Disney Genie. We'd love for you to join the conversation over on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. Just search for Podketeers, but we'd love to invite you to join our growing community on Discord. You can find an invite in the blog post for this episode over at podketeers.com/375. Team Boat Willie is the official charity team of the Podketeers podcast, and we're participating in City of Hope's Walk for Hope to raise money to help find a cure for women's cancers. Our team page is up. If you'd like to join our team to help us fundraise, we'd love to have you on the team, or you can just go to the same page and make a donation. For more info on both of those options, you can go to teamboatwillie.com. The link is super easy to remember because it's just like Steamboat Willie, but without the S. And of course, before we kick off this episode, I want to take a moment to thank a special group of people known as the FGP Squad, our podcast Fairy Godparents, because it's their support via Patreon that help make these episodes of Podketeers possible. As part of the FGP Squad family, you get some additional perks like exclusive discount codes for Podketeers gear, you get additional content like the Podketeers after show, or access to our monthly happy hour calls, just to name a couple. So for more information on how you can become a part of the FGP Squad family, we invite you to check out podketeers.com/FGP. And as always, a super special thank you goes out to the FGP Squad for their continued support. So that's it. It's time to jump into the episode. If you are new to the podcast, we just want to say welcome. We hope that you enjoy what you are hearing and that you come back and hang with us again. If you've been listening for some time, we appreciate you. We appreciate your time. Thanks for hanging out with us on a weekly basis. So here we go. It's time for episode 375 of Podketeers.
We did it.
We did
Yay!
it. You know what? I think this deserves a celebratory bump, even if we don't put it in the bag. Andrew?
First you take your rag, put it in your bag, bump, bump. Then you bend your back, put it in your sack, bump, bump. That's the way you do it. It's a lot of fun. Bump, bump, Podketeers and you put it in your bag, bump, bump.
Or Podketeers and you put it in your ears.
Bump, bump. Yeah, there you go. There we go.
All right, we'll work on it.
Good
We'll work
job.
on it.
We'll record it. It'll be a new intro or something. I don't know. I gotta work. I'm still workshopping the J. Audubon Woodlore voice, so it's coming along.
I would say you're like 99% there.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty close to like Mr. Smee because they're the same guy. So
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It's really close to 100% there, man. One of your best voices.
woohoo! Hey, that's something.
So last week, we had this conversation that apparently some people heard. I thought it was just us having this little private conversation about me possibly getting a 3D printer. I even lowered my voice. I don't know if you guys remember, but I was like, hey, let's just have this conversation. Just real
It was
talking,
real quiet,
real
yeah.
soft, right? But apparently some people heard me have that conversation. And I just want to send a shout out to a couple of people out there, including Kristen, who on Instagram said, Heyzen, get a 3D printer. And I just want to say thank you for backing me up on the fact that I feel like I really need a 3D printer. This week, I saw something that kind of backs up why I should get a 3D printer. Okay, so you guys know that I love Raspberry Pis, right? Not the ones that you eat, but the little single, processor computer boards that you can build all sorts of stuff with. And somebody on Reddit 3D printed the Simpsons TV, and then using an external drive or like a thumb drive and a Raspberry Pi, they created this little TV that when you press it, it randomly plays episodes from the first 11 seasons of The Simpsons. How rad is that?
So cool. So cool. 11 seasons. That's a chunk. That's a good 1/3 of what The Simpsons is out there. But the design is so cool. Like, I want one.
So,
how much is filament again?
I mean,
It's like
it's
it
not
fits
that
in your
bad.
palm of your hand. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Dollhouses can be upgraded to like real mansions now.
Dude.
Right? Where?
Dude. So I'm not even thinking on the dollhouse level, but let's write that down for revenue stream, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Yeah,
thought
some people.
immediately after watching this? Remember I told you I have all those DVD tin collection sets of like the early
yeah,
Disneyland
yeah.
shows and everything that are not on Disney Plus right now? That's what I would build. I would build like an old TV that looks like, I don't know, maybe one from WandaVision or something like old 1950s. And then I would add all those wonderful World of Disney shows so that I could just randomly watch them whenever I wanted to. Granted, it's a tiny TV. Is it a lot of work? Yes. Is it worth it? Heck yes, it's worth it.
I have an idea for you.
What is it?
Can you make, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 screens from Main Street Cinema, and then we could have like all the Mickey cartoons. Exactly. Gears are happening.
Oh my
You're
God,
welcome.
yes! Okay,
Yep.
look. It's really piling on for this
Yep.
3D printer. I think the biggest hurdle that I have right now is where am I going to put it? Because I talked to Gavin about this at one point, and the footprint for these machines is fairly large. I mean, they're not small, right? So I would need a significant amount of space for not only for it to sit, but I think the way that it works is the table that you're printing on has to be able to move as far back off of the machine as the thing that you're printing back and forth. So technically, it's like a 2:1 ratio footprint that you would need for it. So I don't have a lot of space available right now, and I would have to figure that out before I actually got one of these. But I already started researching prices and sizes and which one would allow me to print out certain Iron Man pieces of armor large enough so that I have to
Priorities.
do as little work as possible so that it fits my big dome. Priorities, like Mel said, right?
Yeah.
And once I figure all of that out, I'm gonna have a really hard time not saying little plastic chase card. Meet the people from this printer company.
You know what, Heyzen? You don't need to eat family dinners at the table. You can just eat around the TV. So you can put the 3D printer, dining room table, kitchen counter, whatever. There's places to put it. I'm sure that it's not really going to impede. The kids don't need their own room. Eating
on a TV tray. I mean, that is the American way.
Yeah. Did you ever see Matilda? Come on.
That's what I'm saying. So I think you're onto something here. I might have to take you up on that. All right. I'll report back. But yeah, this little Simpsons TV, super cool. I'm going to see if I can pull the video from the Reddit post, and I will put it on our Instagram stories or on Instagram, whichever is possible. And if not, I'll definitely post a link to the Reddit post on the Discord server. If you're not a part of our Discord family, now would be a great time for you to join. Head on over to podketeers.com or to the blog post for this episode over at podketeers.com/375, and you will see the invite for the Discord server there. You do the clickety-click, and it launches a Discord app if you haven't installed. If not, it's just an app store way to getting it. It'll ask you a couple of questions. Boom! You're in the Discord family. And if you're part of the FGP Squad, you also have a special section on Discord for the FGP Squad. Oh, what's that? You don't know what the FGP Squad is? Let me tell you what the FGP Squad is. They're a fantastic group of folks that help us out with a monthly contribution via Patreon. You can find out more information on how you can become part of the FGP Squad by going to podketeers.com/FGP. FGP. There you'll find info on what it is, a bunch of our top contributors, a link to sign up on Patreon. Being a part of the FGP Squad family also gets you exclusive content like the Podketeers After Show, or sometimes additional audio content, access to our happy hour calls, all sorts of cool stuff. If you have any questions, hit us up. We'll be happy to answer them. But to all of the members of the FGP Squad, we just want to send a huge thank you for your continued support. That came really early on in the episode, but I felt it was rolling so well, and it all went together. But we do want to thank the FGP Squad. They're all awesome. I love hanging out with them every time that we do the happy hour calls. So many things happening this week. We have, obviously, the week that we are releasing this episode, Magic Keys are going to be available. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a while. We're going to talk about Disney Genie and the confusion that it caused. But, Andrew, I have to say, since we were talking about purchases, before we get into all of that, I'm very happy for you, but I'm a little jealous that in my area, I was not able to find... They don't sponsor us, so I'm not going to say their name, but a blue hardware store that had this very exclusive Haunted Mansion light globe dome thing that just kind of spun around Haunted Mansion characters. And if I'm not mistaken, it's happening behind you right now.
It definitely is. I set it up. Yeah, I was able to get my hands on one. It has, it's a little dome thing. You can put it in the room. It's meant for indoors. And it has, the busts from the hallway, the hitchhiking ghosts, the wallpaper, the candle gargoyle things, bride, all kinds of stuff. The logo, different stuff like that. So it spins around, changes colors. It's all kind of fun stuff. I had a fun time getting my hands on that. I went to my closest Lowe's. Looked on the app, said there was 9 available. And then I was like, okay, that was before I left the house. And then I was driving, and I had to stop somewhere, and I checked again. Oh, okay, there's 6 left. Okay, a couple people bought them. They just came out. So I get to Lowe's, it says 6 left, and I go in, and I'm looking, and the lady's putting up the Halloween all the Halloween stuff. They just came out like a couple days ago. And so I get there, and I'm looking, and they have a general Halloween one, and then they have a Nightmare Before Christmas one, and then there's a blank spot where it says Haunted Mansion, da-da-da-da-da. And so I'm looking. Okay, no, they're not really far back. So I asked the lady, oh, hi, did these just not get put out yet? It says online that there's 6 left. And she goes, oh, like 5 minutes ago, 2 people came and bought 3 each. And so they're all gone. I was like, oh, okay. So that was fun. I've never interacted or had issues with like resellers before in my area. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but I guess it's even when it's an exclusive item, anywhere is going to find them. But then I went to the next closest one, and they said they had 2 in stock, so I drove, and there were still 2 in stock, so I was able to get one.
Nice.
Yeah, so, and then after I told you guys about it, Melissa looked them up, and how much were they going for on eBay at the time you looked them up?
Easily 50.
Yeah,
Easily.
50.
Yeah.
This is $14.99 at Lowe's, or Blue Hardware Store, I mean.
Disappointing.
Yes, Blue Hardware Store. Blue Hardware Store.
Blue Hardware Store. But yeah, it's really cool. Took it right out of the box. I like to take stuff out of the box. This one it's not like super collectible. Anyway, it's out of the box. It's sitting there. I threw the box away.
So after you sent the text message to us about it, remember I told you that I searched the app and I couldn't find it. I searched the website and I couldn't find it either. And that's because they turned off the search function for it. You either had to have the direct link for it or you had to have the SKU number for it. So when you sent me the SKU number, sure enough, I found it. In my area, they were completely sold out.
Wow.
There was one store that I think had 1 left, but it was about 30 miles away from me. And I called, we have 3 of the Blue Hardware stores around here. And so I called each one of them and I said, hey, by the way, do you have this, Haunted Mansion product? I have a SKU number in case it makes it easier for you. And they were all super nice. And one person that I spoke to, which is the second closest one to me, she knew immediately what I was talking about. I didn't even have to describe it. As soon as I said the Haunted
Dang.
Mansion Light Dome, she said, "Oh, yeah. Every store got about 10 to 12 of those. And earlier today, 2 people bought all 12 from our store."
Ay.
So, like Melissa, I went on eBay as well. And I did see pictures on there for these posts where there was 5 or 6 of them lined up on the floor, and they all said, "In hand, ready to ship, $49.99." And at that point, it just wasn't worth it for me anymore.
No, it's a 50. I mean, if you were handy enough and you had the right tools, you could make this yourself. It's a plastic dome with some relief cutout characters and LED light, and it spins around. Like, it's not a very complicated thing. It's very cool that it's Haunted Mansion, but I'm not gonna spend $50 on. I'm glad that I got one.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I got it at
Yeah.
the $14.99 price.
Yeah, 14
Oh,
bucks
for sure.
willing to pay it. 20, 25
Yeah.
bucks even I was willing to spend on it. But 50, yeah, not so much.
Give it a minute. I think there's probably enough going around that some of these people are gonna have to lower their prices a bit.
Yeah.
We'll see. But it gave me more room to buy other things this week, so that was, that was fun.
Yeah, didn't you say that you were going to go spend like 2 paychecks and a half over at like Spirit Halloween or something?
I was planning on it. I only spent about, I spent less than $100, so that was okay.
What'd you end up getting?
But I had to go to the gas station, and I saw Spirit Halloween, big sign, we're open. So it's like, well, I guess I have to go in. See what, I always end up at Spirit Halloween way too late where all the fun Disney stuff is picked over. So I was like, okay, they're only been open for a couple days. So I ended up with a couple fun things. First, my one non-Disney thing I can show you guys on the video. This is the Beetlejuice replica of Beetlejuice tombstone from the film.
On.
That's cool.
So at one point they sold this as like a life-size one, and I saw it after it was like even a thing. I always thought it was really cool. So I was able to get that, $15. It wasn't too bad. But some of the cool, fun little stuff I got was there's these little plastic Haunted Mansion shot glasses.
Nice.
Yeah, they're plastic. They're $1 a piece. So if you have a Spirit Halloween near you, this one says "Foolish Mortals," has the wallpaper on it, and this one's kind of just patterned with a bunch of different, Madame Leota and the wallpaper and blah 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 blah. $1 a piece. So those were kind of neat. I bought the last of them at the one I went to. So your trial may vary. I don't know. I also Haunted Mansion wise, I was able to get these little snow globes. This is a little
those are
Hatbox Ghost
rad.
snow globe. And then this is a little Madame Leota
That's
snow
cool.
globe.
How much were
They
those?
had the $6.99.
That's not bad.
Yeah, they're about 3 inches
No.
tall, 4 inches
Nice.
tall.
Good description.
Yeah. Yeah. They also had the bride, and then Ezra and Gus, Ezra and Phineas, hitchhiking ghost. They did not have a Gus in the one I saw. I don't know if I missed out. But this Hatbox Ghost one, it has his thumb out like he's hitchhiking, so I don't know if they're kind of doing a 2-for-1
maybe.
sale with the hitchhiking ghosts. I don't know. So that was kind of fun. I got a couple of Hocus Pocus things. I got this is a nice little magnet. It says "I lit the black flame candle."
Oh.
So that's fun. A little magnet.
Nice.
This is a wooden sign. This is great for. I'll have to get photos of these to put them in the stuff because nobody can see this in an audio podcast. But Sanderson Sisters, Sanderson Museum of Witchcraft sign. This little plaque.
I like that.
That's sweet.
My last thing is this Haunted Mansion sticker. It says, "Sacred to the memory of dearly departed. Be sure to bring your death certificate if you should decide to join them." And it's got little skulls and little kind of cool little sticker thing.
Very cool.
I got some other. They had a Hocus Pocus bag. I got some other Beetlejuice stuff. Yeah, I was a fun little trip at Spirit Halloween, and I was surprised to see Haunted Mansion stuff. And when I saw it, I then scoured the entire store just to make sure I didn't miss any of it. So I think I got the 4 things. 5. They had a couple different Haunted Mansion magnets that I didn't end up with in Hocus. Well, no, they had a couple different Hocus Pocus magnets that I didn't end up with. I don't think they had any mansion magnets, but yeah, I mean, if you see any cool mansion stuff at your Spirit Halloween, let me know, because I'm gonna have to check out some of these other ones, see if there's stuff I missed at these other ones.
Yeah. I might have to go check it out, especially for some of those Haunted Mansion things that you're talking about.
Right.
They had a pretty decent Hocus Pocus section, a huge Nightmare Before Christmas section. So they had some fun stuff. They had like plaques with like the wreath and all kinds of different fun stuff. So Spirit Halloween's got some great home decor, Disney tied things. Also a big Beetlejuice section if you're into Beetlejuice. It seems to be coming back in style. I got some Beetlejuice stuff.
That's the second time you've said it.
It has to be spoken. It has to be unbroken. I can talk between it. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, good to know, because that was 2 already.
I don't want to test it. Hey, how's it going?
Welcome to Winter River Museum of Natural Green, a monument to the boat businessman. Come on a little close in.
Anyway,
Nice.
it's the only quote I remember from Beetlejuice.
Did you see how Melissa's eyes lit up on the Code Orange talk when you said Nightmare Before Christmas? Like her eyes were like, bloop.
I know. It's like, dang. Well, we
You
do
like-
this to each other. We'll like send each other things like, oh, you kind of need this or you need this. And this runs all the way down to the expo too. We're horrible.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We enable each other.
I don't know how many things Melissa sent me and that I've just immediately bought.
Yeah.
Yep. Same. Oh, there's some Spider-Man news that I want to get into. But before we talk about that, let's go to Avengers Campus. Let's go to Imagineering. Actually, it wasn't even Avengers Campus because Andrew had a very astute observation. We posted a couple of videos, couple posts on Instagram about Imagineering and Project EXO. EXO is this awesome project they've been working on for the last 2 years, where they've been building this huge exoskeleton to try to bring in some of the larger Marvel characters into the parks. Characters like the Hulk, Thanos, and immediately your imagination starts to go wild when you see these characters, right? Because then you start thinking like, well, what else is possible? And the only thing I thought was, bring on the Hulkbuster.
Somebody else has commented too that they noticed the fuzzy legs on one of them could be a Wampa as well for Galaxy's Edge. That would be something cool.
Yeah.
Maybe a walk around Yeti or something at Animal Kingdom. Big old Yeti.
So we actually
One that works. Yeah.
Yeah, so we actually asked over on Instagram who people would like to see if this technology actually made it into the parks. Some members of the FGP Squad sounded off. Nicole said it would be incredible. She would love to see the Hulk or Baymax. By the way, happy birthday, Nicole. It was her birthday this last
Baymax.
week. Our pal Heather
La, 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 la.
said she would for sure want to see Baymax. Brian said Harold walking around the Matterhorn.
Yeah.
Pretty
Not the new
awesome.
one.
OG.
Would you be scared, Larry?
Yeah.
That's okay, buddy.
No.
I'll be there to hold you. Don't worry. You're good.
I wouldn't even go near the dark in that area. I'd just like forget it.
Jill said they've already made her cry bringing Chewbacca to the parks, but she wonders who she'd be excited to see next in this technology. And that's true. I would definitely cry if they brought the Hulkbuster.
Yeah, you would.
Our pal Chrissy, Adventures in DIY Shop, said, this is so freaking cool. Of Mouse and Manco said when he saw the purple hands, he was thinking about Thanos, because there was a couple of shots, a couple of photos. There was the fuzzy feet, but there was some like purple hands, which it looks like it was silicone that they were just kind of casting at the time and they were testing out. But the possibilities are endless. There's so many things that you can do with this. I mean, Wreck-It Ralph could be in the freaking parks, right?
Like more articulate, because they had him before, but he's kind of like Wreck-It Ralph and like Sully.
Yeah.
Are kind of like
Yes.
where their arms just kind of
Oh,
Yeah.
Sully would be fun.
Or their arms kind of just swing around to
So
do whatever,
dangle.
but yeah, dangle.
Yeah.
You know, I think I'm pretty clear as to which one I want to see. But if you all had to make a choice, like if they came to you and Imagineering said, hey, Mel, which character do you want to see right now? Who would it be?
I like thinking about Harold walking around Matterhorn. I think that'd be fun.
All right. Poor Larry's going to be super scared. I'll be there for you, buddy. Don't you
I'm
worry.
sorry.
Let's jump to Larry. If Imagineering came to you, Larry, and they said, Larry, which character do you want to see walking around the parks with the new exoskeleton technology? It would be...
I mean, I can't believe you guys didn't say it, but Maui. I mean,
Oh,
come
man,
on.
I forgot about
Yes.
Gosh. You're welcome.
But Harold.
Yes.
That would be pretty
Oh.
cool, I think.
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Do I have to rethink this? No, sticking with the Hulkbuster. Andrew, if you had to choose, Imagineering comes to you. Andrew, you are in charge. You're going to choose the next character to be in the exoskeleton. Who would it be?
All right, mine's a little bit out of left field, but if you watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit, you would know Bongo the gorilla from
Okay.
the Ink and
Okay.
Paint Club.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the password?
There you go.
I think it's just the first thing I thought of when you brought the topic up was, oh yeah, the big old gorilla from Roger Rabbit. You know, nobody would know who he was, but they would see a giant gorilla, and it would be hilarious.
I love it.
Yeah.
You may have swayed me on the Maui, Larry, I mean, look, if we could
Kids like
technically
'em.
do it, right? I mean, what if they said we need one for DCA and one for
Imagine walking
Disneyland?
around with that?
Yeah.
He's walking around with the big old hook. Oh my god. dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
you would just
cool.
need one of those just to do like a Frank Wolf character anyway, right? Because,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
Ah,
The Rock is so...
so many
Close
possibilities.
second's Baymax though. Baymax is just so cool.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean,
Baymax is cool. The one that they had in the park is very cool, but the one with the armor
Yeah.
would be cooler to get, you know, a
Get a
little bit
picture with
more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that one's probably a little harder to do with the inflatable one.
Yeah,
Right,
I
right.
would definitely think Armored Baymax would be on the list for something like this. All right, well, if you want to play along and you have any characters that you would want to see as part of this new exoskeleton technology, you can either comment on the post that we already have if you haven't seen the videos, or comment on the Instagram post for this particular episode. Again, podketeers.com/375. You'll see the title card on our Instagram account. We'd love to know which characters you'd like to see using this tech.
What about Jabba the Hutt?
Yeah.
Wow.
Pookie.
I mean, it would be possible, right? I mean, they wouldn't be
Yeah.
moving around, but
Picture moment.
yeah. You know, it's funny because when you look at the exoskeleton, it's very similar to a lot of the stuff that we already see, like Henson produce, right? A lot of the big characters have similar structures. These are just a little more articulating than Big Bird would be, for instance, right? Like, you got big poofy
Yeah.
hands, big poofy feet, but when you look at Project Exo, the fingers articulate and stuff like that. So it is a step up of something that kind of already exists. It's just leveling up the same concept. Not to diminish in any way what they've done and the process, because I wouldn't be able to build this, and I don't want it to sound like "Pff, anybody can do it. Right? I'm
Oh,
not
no.
there. I just want to be clear about that. I love how Josh D'Amaro just kind of like jumps and high fives the big hand in like one of the videos.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
funny
that's
looking.
cool.
Yeah, you started to bring it up earlier, but that video was taking place at the, I think it's called the Disney. Is it the Disney Theater now in the Hollywood Land?
Yes.
The former Disney Junior Theater. It had I think the last thing, it was like what, Disney Dance Party something or another. Anyway, I was like, that looks really familiar, and so I looked up Disney Junior live on YouTube. I was like, oh no, there it is, big Mickey Mouse shaped screens with all this like LED neon looking stuff, and so they were playing with it in the park, so that's kind of cool.
Wait, does Walt Disney World have their own version of this Disney Junior Live Theater, or is it just the California Adventure?
I think the one that we saw was the specifically California Adventure, because if I'm remembering correctly, they did not get the dance party. They just had Disney Junior, and then it closed. I could be 100% wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And then ours turned into like this dance party thing. But their space is a lot bigger than the one, I'm pretty sure, than the one we have in DCA. So, So I'm like 90% sure that it was the DCA one.
Okay.
Which would make sense because that's where Imagineering is, located currently.
Well, at least for now.
Yeah, currently.
Which is a whole other story that we'll talk about on another episode. But, I mean, maybe they were walking around Avengers Campus because they were checking the clearances while they were walking in those big fuzzy feet.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm excited to see what comes from it. Again, if you have any characters that you would love to see as part of this exoskeleton technology, join the conversation over on Instagram or Facebook, or we'd love to have you as part of the Discord family. So make sure to sign up and join the conversation there. Okay, well, we're talking about Avengers Campus, so I feel like it's a really great time to jump into talking about Spider-Man because it made huge news. Obviously, we've been talking about, the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer and how we haven't received it and how it was going to be exclusive to going back to the movie theater and possibly going to, be with Shang-Chi, all these possibilities, right? And we were speculating about why we hadn't gotten one. And then at some point, people thought that there wasn't going to be one at all. I think someone at Marvel even teased that we weren't going to get one just to troll the internet. And apparently that was not the case. Apparently there was a trailer that was being produced. And I guess there was a convention that was happening. I don't know exactly which one it was. But I believe there was some kind of con happening. And they were going to debut the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer as part of that convention, or as part of Sony's presentation, rather. And it was leaked. The leak was apparently a video, a camera phone video of a camera phone video of a video of the trailer. So it was like a third generation leak at this point. It was
an uncompleted trailer.
Yes, an incomplete trailer that was missing special effects. It was like 4 degrees removed from Kevin Bacon at this point, but it was enough that you got a good chunk of the trailer. As soon as it was posted, I was so tempted, but I decided to hold back. I didn't want it to spoil the whole thing. Knowing that there was an actual trailer, I think made me excited that I thought, I'm just going to wait for the official release. I had read that there was a watermark. I was like, I'm not going to ruin this. But I know that some people watched it.
I watched it. I couldn't tell you what was going on during it, but I watched it. It was very hard to decipher what was happening in the leaked trailer, so you didn't really miss much.
Okay, so that was going to be my question. What was the clarity like or anything? Because you saw the official trailer earlier that we posted on our Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so my question was going to be, what was the comparison like? But if you couldn't see it, then I guess it's good, because you couldn't really make it out all that much.
Yeah, the audio wasn't. I mean, it was. Yeah, you could kind of make out some word. It was rough. So, it was. I didn't really spoil much for myself because I couldn't really comprehend what was going on.
But it did have like somebody's name watermarked on there, right?
Yeah, it had like a watermark across it. What I read in an article, it said it was the. I believe the editor that did the trailer, is who that was.
I feel so bad for them.
Yeah, but yeah, it was. If we're gonna talk about the trailer, spoiler alert ahead.
Big time.
Just in case you're trying to save yourself for the film.
Go watch it on YouTube.
What I will post it in the blog post for the episode, podketeers.com/375. If you haven't seen the full trailer yet, it's a good 3-minute trailer. It's a good teaser. They reveal a lot. If you want to go watch that, we'll wait. Go ahead. Go watch it right now. We'll just. No, that's fine. We'll wait. Go ahead.
247, 246, 245.
All right, I can't wait anymore. They can come back and they can hear us talking about it later. So let's talk about this trailer, because there's been a lot of speculation about whether or not we were going to see something having to do with the multiverse. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about the other Spider-Man from other franchises, villains from other franchises crossing over. The trailer starts off where the movie last left off, and that is when Mysterio reveals that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. And
Wait, he is?
oh, sorry, dude. I'm sorry. I didn't know you didn't know.
Spoiler.
Oh man.
Spoiled Andrews all day.
What?
Your reactions watching this trailer with everything that was presented to us.
Wow. First off, I was happy that I didn't know about the leak, because like what Andrew said, I would hate, or what you said, I would hate to ruin that, cinematic adventure you get with the trailer. It's awesome. For me, immediately what pops out, you start hearing voices that you used to know from the other Spider-Mans, which is really cool. And that, like, we're talking about this multiverse thing, and now you could see how they're going to tie this all together, at least in a trailer. I think if we're talking about questions immediately, there's a scene, we're already past this, we're going to spoilers here, where Doctor Strange is, like, doing his thing and blasting Peter Parker out of the Spider-Man basically suit, and he's holding on to something, and I was like, what is he holding on to there? I paused it so many times. And then, sorry guys, the big payoffs at the end. You hear the voice, and then you're like, hello, Peter. It's like, oh man, so sweet. So sweet. I'll let someone else go on with what they say before I go kill that.
No, keep going. It was all fun listening.
Well, being like a Spider-Man fan from the past movies, like we've always been told, like, oh, there's a couple, right, the Spider-Man, I think a lot of the Sony Pictures straight up one, not the one with, I think they're doing a lot more callbacks to the one that we see with Tobey Maguire. I mean, the Green Goblin laughs in the background. You see his rollout of his weapon come spinning through. And I think another thing that threw me off that kind of got me scared is you see Happy in a shot and he has lasers like pointed at him. And you're like, what's going on here? Why is that happening to him? And I think my biggest question off of watching this, and maybe Heyzen knows something more than I do, I don't feel like Doctor Strange would do this. What he's proposing in the trailer, and I'm like, there's something mischievous here that I don't feel good about. Like there's a scene they really pinpoint to when they show of not doing a certain spell. And I don't know, man. I just got Loki vibes. That's immediately what I felt. I know it's probably not Loki. That's not what I'm thinking. I guess a little bit. I'll say a little bit. But it just feels something's not right. Because I just don't know if Doctor Strange would literally open this portal.
Doctor Strange in sweats. That is awesome.
In the cave.
That is awesome.
It's so sweet.
I love it. Okay. So I'm just watching it, and it's like, it is a ride. It is a ride. Like the way that everything is happening, and because of Doctor Strange, and the way that things are bending, and I don't know much, but I am excited just to see how everything plays out. I'm really clueless on a lot of the stuff. I didn't know we were going to see Doctor Strange so soon. It was a good surprise to see everything roll, and then see Doc Ock come out, and it was like, hey, oh my gosh. And just to see, like, real quickly, while Spider-Man is talking to Doctor Strange, and he's kind of screwing with the spell, and then you just see like the little glimpses of the multiverse, just like how we saw in Loki, which is like, oh my god, this is all happening. We're gonna see a lot more of this, so that's why I'm calling it a ride, because it's just like, yeah, I can't wait to see the movie now.
Yeah. All right, Andrew. What do you think?
I did not get as prepared as Larry did. I watched it once. I did not get detailed notes. The first thing that I remember from the trailer is like the Doctor Strange Christmas lights or Halloween lights.
Those are cool.
I want those.
Those are cool. That was a good
like
call right there.
Blow mold lights. Yeah, I mean it was good. It's funny the part where he's like Peter Parker calls him Sir. And he's like, we saved the universe or whatever, the entire world. I think we passed through. He's like, okay, Steven. And he's like, it's a little weird, but we'll get past it or whatever. So it's funny. It's good. It gives you a lot of little teasers. Like, why is Doctor Strange's house like all covered in snow or whatever? I don't know what this is all about. So it just makes me curious as to see who we're going to see, because we saw, I don't know if we brought it up on the podcast or not, or if I forgot. I know I sent it somewhere to somebody, but they had released a while ago proofs of shirts, of T-shirts and merchandise. And so we saw it was like a lot of Doctor Strange and Spider-Man and stuff like that. So it's really intriguing to see if all the rumors are going to pay off, that we're going to be seeing multiple Spider-Mans, multiple villains from the other films, because the big villains of Spider-Man have already like been used up by the other Sony films. And so, that's this Spider-Man's kind of doing away, they didn't use Mysterio, that was, but Green Goblin and Doc Ock are the two like heavy hitters of the Spider-Man villains. And it's cool that at least for now we know Doc Ock is coming in. And I remember seeing, I believe must have been a text, like a interview with Alfred Molina. I think Alfred I said his name right.
Yeah.
Alfred Molina. Okay, I keep saying Alfred, Albert, Edward. I can't remember it correctly. Yeah, he was saying that, oh yeah, man, I'm so much older than I was when I did this, and they made me look so good and so young. And this, so it's been almost 20 years since he did the first movie. So, it's cool to get these people get a kind of reprise their roles and stuff. So, that's all I have. I want the Doctor Strange lights.
Yeah, you could put Mickey Rourke and Iron Man. You better put Molina as Doc Ock. You know what I mean?
You all brought up so many good points in this trailer. You hear the laughs. You see the little Green Goblin bomb. You hear, like you said, Larry, I got chills when I heard the "Hello, Peter," and then through the ashes and the smoke comes Doc Ock. So good. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the Doctor Strange moment, because I felt the exact same way at that point. Stephen Strange is not the type of person to be that reckless. From the time that he was a surgeon, he was always very calculated. And this is the guy that spent a bunch of time trying to calculate which outcome was the best for them to beat Thanos. And if he went through all of those calculations and all of those scenarios to try to figure out the best outcome, why would he put the universe in danger if he knew that this spell was going to cause the chaos that it was going to cause? All for what? For Peter not to suffer? Guess what? Being a superhero is all about suffering. The superheroes are full of angst. That's what comics are about. And that's why I think Marvel Comics connected with so many people on so many levels. That's why even in DC Comics, like Batman connected with so many people, because there was this angst behind the characters that you connected with on a human level. And Peter, being a teenager, helps him connect on that level with a lot of people, because either people remember how they felt or they're going through it now. So the fact that Doctor Strange would put the universe in danger the way that he did is totally sus, dude. I thought the same thing. I don't know what's happening. At first I thought, well, maybe it's Mysterio. But Mysterio doesn't really have any powers. Mysterio's just an illusionist, He's a special effects artist. Like, he doesn't have the ability to do this. If we're thinking about who it could be, it could be Loki. It could be, let's see, who else has chaos magic that could do something like this? Wanda, that looks like Doctor Strange. It could be, the possibilities are endless as to who this could possibly be.
It better not be Agatha.
I don't think so. It was her all along before. Why wouldn't it be Agatha now? I think that if we can sit there, if we sit here and try to figure out who it is, I'm pretty sure we can come up with some pretty intelligent guesses. It's crazy, right? Because I think in the comics at one point Spider-Man becomes the Sorcerer Supreme, and as far as why this is so suspicious, Doctor Strange is the Sorcerer Supreme now. There's no way that he would be this, I don't know, this irresponsible with his powers that he's worked so hard at honing properly. I have to double check because I'm not exactly sure how he became the Sorcerer Supreme, or on what Earth it was, or what led up to it. But I'm like 90% sure that at one point Spider-Man was Sorcerer Supreme, and we've seen these crossover pieces of art already. Right, we've seen pieces of art where the suits are kind of crossing over, and we've seen kind of like an Iron Man or Doctor Strange kind of suit on Spider-Man. How much of it was official or unofficial, I don't know yet. I'd have to go back and double check. Obviously, not a lot of official stuff has been released, so we'd have to go back and start trying to filter out, what maybe was a leak, what maybe wasn't. But I'm excited for this, man. I mean, this is...
Same.
First, this gets released earlier in the week. There was, late last week, there was all this talk about Disney possibly buying Sony's, entertainment division, and, possibly trying to buy back Spider-Man because, Marvel wants to take advantage and put Spider-Man back into the MCU. I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean... If you don't know the story, basically what happened is that a long time ago in a kingdom far away called the 1990s,
I saw the signs.
Wow.
There you go.
And did it open up your eyes when you saw the sign?
It sure did. The
Nice.
90s. That's what it did.
So actually, we'll fast forward. We'll go back to just a few years ago in 2017 when Disney bought Fox Entertainment, right? They made this huge acquisition for like $71 billion. It was one of the biggest acquisitions in any studio's history. And one of the biggest things that we saw from that acquisition was Marvel regaining a bunch of characters from Fox, like the X-Men, Wolverine, Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer, Doctor Doom, Deadpool, just to name a few. But really, they essentially ended up regaining control of all the Marvel characters that they didn't have, except for Spider-Man. Now, at the time, they were doing this whole collaborative effort with Sony. Homecoming was going to be that film that we were going to get, and it was freaking people out because it was the first time we were going to see Spider-Man in the MCU. Now, again, back in that faraway land known as the 1990s, in the early 90s, we had this like huge comic boom, right? And so comic after comic after comic was being released. Comic book publishers were releasing variants and collectibles and all sorts of things, and it was going really well until the mid to late 1990s when there was a big crash. And so in like 1996, Marvel goes into bankruptcy, right? And as a matter of fact, a whole bunch of studios just kind of go into, or a bunch of comic book publishers rather, go into bankruptcy. And in order to stay afloat, Marvel puts together this like bunch of licensing deals where they start licensing out characters for films just to get money to try to stay afloat. They didn't have a studio, right? Like they just needed a way to make money, and so they would, lease out their characters. As a matter of fact, that type of film leasing was film licensing was how we ended up getting X-Men films by Fox in the early 90s. So they lose a bunch of their characters. They pretty much give everyone away except for Captain America. That's the only one they ended up keeping. They go to Sony, and Sony's like, what are you offering? Marvel's like, we're going to give you everything in the catalog except Captain America. And Sony's like, we don't care about everything in your catalog. Everything sucks. All we want is Spider-Man. And they're like, okay, well, how much do you want it for? And in this time frame, there was all these films and all these things that were going to get processed, and Spider-Man and Sony and like all these studios were in court. There was all these legal battles. Ultimately, Sony wins the legal battles and buys Spider-Man in 1999, or the licensing rights to Spider-Man in 99 for like $7 million. It was something insane, right? So along with that came Venom, Green Goblin, Mary Jane, like all the prominent characters from the Spider-Man universe. Fast forward to 2011. And Sony is in trouble now. And so now Sony goes back to Marvel and they're like, hey, we know we kind of own a lot of this stuff. We want to sell you the merchandising rights back to Spider-Man. And so this is where it really began to get complicated, because after this deal, Disney owned the licensing right for merchandise. So anything that had a Spider-Man toy, a video game, anything like that, Disney or Marvel made 100% of that. Sony still made 100% of all the movie stuff. And, you know, it was kind of split for other stuff at that point. But in general, Sony kept 95% of box office, and like Marvel got like 5% or something like that. So then in 2019, remember when Tom Holland was now a part of the MCU, you know, everyone was happy. But then there was this whole deal with like Disney and Marvel and Sony where they were like fighting and they were bickering, and they didn't know if like Tom Holland was going to come back to the MCU. There was a huge backlash. And then Tom Holland's on stage with like Kevin Feige at D23. He's like, I love you 3000. I don't know if I'm coming back. Like hitting context, right? And so they realized that they needed a new deal. So they go back, they start trying to strike this deal, and Disney offers Sony this deal where they were going to split the merchandise in the box office like 50-50. Sony says, no way, that's not going to work for us. We don't like it. It becomes this big public dispute. The fans are like, bring Spider-Man back to the MCU. How dare you keep Spider-Man from the MCU where he belongs? Is pretty much how we all felt at that point, right? They finally strike a new deal. Disney gets 25% of the box office. Sony still keeps Spider-Man. But in that deal, they still keep the fact that in order to continue licensing Spider-Man, they have to make a Spider-Man movie every 5 years. That's why we ended up getting Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. Then we got into the Spider-Verse. I believe that Homecoming and Far From Home count as films within that 5-year deal. But they kept it. Fast forward again, the rumors start flying around that Sony is going to sell off their movie division because they're in trouble. And truth be told, they're not doing very well. Sony is kind of in trouble when it comes to their movie division. These rumors have actually been circling around for a really, really long time. But it would be a really foolish move on Disney's part to do that right now, unless all this money that they're charging us for the parks and all this new stuff that's coming out is going towards the purchase of Spider-Man. Don't know if I like it, but you know, that's a conversation for a whole other time. But it's very unlikely that Disney will pull the trigger on purchasing all of Sony or Sony's entertainment division because monopoly laws exist, right? They cannot monopolize having that many film studios. And when they gobbled up Fox, they took a lot of studios with them. Like, we are down one major studio in Hollywood. Bringing down Sony would bring them down to even less, and it begins to monopolize it even more. So there's a lot of laws in place that I don't think would make that sale happen. Would it be nice to see Peter Parker and Spider-Man back as part of the MCU officially? Absolutely. But I mean, Disney's not doing that bad when it comes to Spider-Man, right? Because they have 100% merchandising rights, and you know how much they make off of Spider-Man merch on a yearly basis? Any guesses?
Nope.
More than I make in the whole my lifetime, probably. All the money I'd ever make in my entire life, they make in a year on Spider-Man. That's my guess. That's
a good one.
Figure around
I like
there.
that.
Let me put it this way. Gross revenue for Spider-Man Homecoming, okay, which was a joint Disney, Marvel, Sony production, made $880 million. The merchandising sales that they make off of Spider-Man toys, since they have 100%, is over $1.4 billion.
Right.
So the fact that they don't
fully
fully have Spider-Man isn't really hurting them all that much.
You know what? They could always do if they could be clever about it too if they really want to get that Spider-Man. You know, when they bought Fox, they had to make certain concessions, and they had to say, okay, well, we're selling Fox News to whoever, and da 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 da. Maybe they do some kind of deal where, all right, we're going to join in buying Sony, and we get Spider-Man and all of the whatever they have, and then somebody else, you can have all the rest of the whatever you got over there.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that in theory could be worked out if they find the right, you know, partner to buy the rest of it to get Spider-Man. And who's to say maybe whoever's buying Sony, if somebody buys Sony, might just go to Disney and say, hey, you guys want Spider-Man? Here, give us, $10 billion or whatever they want for Spider-Man.
I doubt that such a huge moneymaker would just be given away for $10 million when they know that merchandising sales are over $1 billion. Right,
Well,
so
I think
they
it's
know
10
the
billion,
value.
Andrew.
Oh, I said billion,
You
but
said
they
billion.
could.
Oh, okay,
they
okay.
could, yeah.
Okay, well, that
about 10
makes
years
more
old,
sense.
yeah.
Lots of money.
yeah, okay,
yeah.
okay.
Insane.
Spider-Man's worth a lot of money.
Yeah, but at the same time,
But he's just a kid from New York.
I mean, at the same time, when you see so many things getting pulled back and charging for so many other things, again, are all those new charges going towards the purchase of Spider-Man? I kind of hope not, because there's still a lot of cast members that are out of work. There's still a lot of things that need to get fixed around the parks. They shouldn't be spending it on Spider-Man. Like, we're doing okay,
Yeah.
right? You just gained a whole
Yeah, we
bunch of
can-
other
Yeah.
characters. You got the mutants that you can put into the films now. I mean, I hate to say it, but I even read on Reddit this theory that if they just kind of wait it out, Sony might get desperate enough and say, give us $5 million for Spider-Man. And I
Yeah,
hate
or
to
whatever,
say,
yeah.
I mean, I hate to say, I mean, it's the same position that Marvel was in when they sold the rights to Sony to begin with, right? Sony's
Yeah.
in trouble as an entertainment studio. They're not doing as well as they would want to, and they make a great point. I wish I knew who said it. I'm going to try to find it because I want to give them the credit, because I really like that theory that it sucks to say, but on a business level, if they're scooping up Spider-Man at the for the least amount of money, that's probably what they're waiting for at this point. Anyway, we got this new trailer, and that's kind of where we are. So the rumors of Disney buying Sony, I don't think they're true. But again, there's been many times where I've said something and Disney's like, ha, hold my beer. And then like 2 days later, we see an announcement where it's
Yeah.
like,
On a Wednesday.
on a Wednesday,
Mhm.
exactly. How
On a
dare
Wednesday.
they? How dare they? So we're going to have to wait and see. I don't think they'll do it this Wednesday, because this Wednesday is the release of Magic Keys. We got that coming up. But I hate to hard pivot out of the Spider-Man talk. Before we leave, any other comments on the Spider-Man trailer, Spider-Man in general, what you're looking forward to, or any other thoughts on Doctor Strange being totally sus in this movie?
Yeah, no, I want those. I'll reiterate it. If anybody sees those little wizardy Doctor Strange lights go for sale, let me know. I really want those.
They are
I mean, it
cool.
makes it seem that the movie's taking place around Halloween.
For
So
sure.
that's kind of
Yeah.
cool, because they're
I
kind
saw
of like Halloween
cats in the
lights.
background, like black
So-
cats and stuff.
So,
Those are Agatha's
Halloween.
cats.
I don't know.
You're right, Larry. It
It
was
was her
Agatha
all
all
along.
along.
Those are
Damn
fighting
it.
words.
Okay, so
Anyway.
Magic Keys go on sale this week. The same day that we release this episode will be the first official day that you can get a Magic Key. If you decide to purchase one of the new Magic Keys within the first 66 days to celebrate the 66th anniversary of the park, you will receive a commemorative packet with a couple of goodies, including a Magic Key pin. No more plastic passes like we used to have with the annual passes. However, they will charge you like 20 or 25 bucks to print out a copy of your Magic Key. No thanks. I'm good. Have y'all decided what you're going to do about Magic Keys? I know we talked about it before. Have you? I know that a lot of us are on the yeah, we're getting it, but have we decided on levels yet?
Yeah, I'm Tina and I think we're gonna go Dream. I think I'm going to be Wednesday jumping on there if I don't have anything to do in the morning, and sitting and looking at that goat or whatever happens on the screen. Hopefully the goat doesn't eat the page or whatever. But yeah, I think we kind of did the math, and it makes sense for us to, because the weekends is the main thing, and the parking and the discounts, and it's a lot of stuff. But yeah, I think we'll end up with the Dream, right? Dream's the highest one. I
Yeah.
can't remember
Yeah,
all
Dream.
the
Yeah.
You got it. You got the dream.
All right. Mel, have you decided?
Yeah, I won't be doing this Wednesday I will be getting mines if they're available in October, hopefully. That's what I'm aiming for. And of course, stream. It's the no blockouts that sold me,
Yeah.
and the other stuff.
Well, I mean, this is kind of interesting. I mean, I don't know. We'll go to you two, Heyzen, but me and my wife are. It's the dream key we want, but is it gonna fit our budget? Is the key, literally, right? So
Yeah.
I'm past the point of Melissa of like I'm waiting to see what happens. Most of the past the point to being like, can we afford this realistically in 2021? Just looking at 2021 right now, is it better to get in 2022? What's it gonna look like in this first run of these keys? Like I mentioned before, is it gonna be hard to make a reservation, to get feedback from everybody, to see what's the best value? So I'm in that boat of even waiting longer possibly. I don't mind missing out on the 66 days, but I am kind of perked in interest now to be like, what's the printout? Because if it's $25, what if it's cool? Because then everyone's gonna get the printout for $25.
I think it's like a piece of paper.
If it's a
Like,
piece of paper,
Is it?
It's like a ticket. Like I think it's just like a ticket or something.
Yep.
Because
Alright.
it says print out, so it makes you think it's just like a ticket.
I
I
don't
think
know.
they say paper pass
don't know.
on there.
Till we
On
see
the
it.
thing it says. Yeah.
Because before, if you lost your pass, you would pay $20 and you would get another one.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm wondering, maybe it is plastic. But then, yeah, if it were to be, then yeah, you're right. I see everyone buying one just to have it.
Just to
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
an Instagram picture.
Yes.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Physical picture.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good.
There you go.
I'm good in Photoshop.
Make
I can
your
make it
own.
happen. Yeah. Just
3D
send me
printer's coming.
pictures.
I already got it.
Send me
Already heard it.
pictures of your hand in the air, and I will Photoshop a magic key printout in your fingertips. I got you. Yeah, I think we're still. I mean, it's hard for us, right? Because of all of us in the group, we're the ones that have to buy the most passes. We have to purchase 4, and trying to figure out, like you said, Larry, how that fits into our budget is going to be the biggest thing. When we had the previous annual passes, all 4 of us had like the premiere, because it just made sense that we can go whenever we wanted into the park. However, the same argument that I made when we first started talking about with these, when they made the announcement of the different keys, is it baffles me that they didn't want to include like a child version of that same pass, because my kids don't drive. Why would they need parking? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So having some kind of discount for a child version of that same pass would have been super helpful. You know, they're not the ones buying food. We are. So why does their pass need the same discount? Like, I'm willing to concede, you know, parking and discounts and all that stuff for the additional passes if they knock off a couple $100 off of each one, considering that it's a child that has that pass. So in this whole revamp process of this system, I'm surprised. I don't know. I want to say that I'm surprised, but considering how many things are being charged for in the parks, and you know, we're gonna talk about Disney Genie in a moment. Considering how many things are being charged for and the prices that some of the things are going for, there's a part of me that isn't surprised. You know, that there isn't a child version of the pass. I think we're still kind of on the fence about possibly my wife and I getting the Dream Key, and then for our kids maybe getting like the Belief Key or the Enchant Key. The only reason I would want to go Dream Key is, you know, let's say that during the week or something I take a day off and, you know, we all meet up in the park for something. You know, I want to have that flexibility. I think for anybody that's on the fence about getting any one of these keys, I think a really good thing to do is to really try to do a cost breakdown of what it's going to cost you to go, how frequently you're going to go, how cost effective is it for you to be making these monthly payments for something like this. Because if you only go, let's say, once a month, the cost breakdown for a Dream Key is about $102 per month, I think, after the initial cost of it. And then you're talking parking, which is another, what, 20 or 25 bucks when you go into the
currently.
parking structure, at least for now.
Go up.
Yeah, at least for now. You know, for 2 people, tickets are about $130 right? So you're talking $260, an additional $25 for parking. You're looking at just under $300 to go one time. That's it. If you don't think you're going to go for months on end, it might make sense to spend a little extra money on that one trip and save months worth of payments if you're not going to be back, before it's going to break even for you. You know what I mean? So I think breaking it down, figuring out which is the most cost-effective option for you is obviously the best way to go. I think we're still kind of up in the air because for 4 people, it's a lot of money. Especially if we're not going to go anytime soon. We've decided that we don't want to go anytime between now and December. We're probably going to go in January or February of next year, which means that if we do get it, we're paying for 5 or 6 months worth of passes without even going to the park.
Yeah.
It doesn't start until you scan it the first time in the park.
But you're still paying for it, though.
Yeah, but then you'll get those that on the back end. Then you'll have months where you don't pay, in theory.
That's true.
I don't know if that's exactly how it works. You'll have you start paying ahead of time, but your first time. So with the Dream Key, your first time, if you use parking, that starts your pass.
Right.
So if you use the parking structure and then go
Don't
to
park.
then go to downtown Disney or whatever.
Don't do it.
Then that starts your pass.
Yeah.
But according to everything I've read, that as soon as the first time you scan it is when your pass date begins.
That's how they used to work too.
Yeah. So
annual pass. So it's just a good feature.
Yeah. So if for some reason you want to get in on that 66 days, you can. You'll just be making payments ahead of time, but hopefully it'd be. I wonder if there's an answer out there. If somebody's listening knows this answer, comment or let us know somehow. But hopefully, let's say you buy it tomorrow or today, and if you buy it today and then you don't go till January, then you have almost 4 months. 4 months at the end. Then you'll have through the whole year. So it'll be interesting to know if there's a precise answer to that.
I think that falls more onto the person that's worried about that real first key small wording you see when you read these, pass types are limited in quantity and passes may no longer be available for purchase and or renewal at any time. When you read that second line on the Magic Key webpage on Disneyland.com, that's the fear. I don't know if it's real warranted fear, because knowing Disney, they're going to want to do as many passes as they can, I would think, as they used to do back in the day. I mean, there was over 1 million annual pass holders at one point.
Yeah.
That was the roundabout number they thought. No one really had it. So that kind of leads to, I don't know, Heyzen, the next thing, really it's talking about the Genie, talking about getting the mass out of something. Disney just pulled that on a Wednesday last week.
Yeah. So one more thing before we move on to Disney Genie. One thing that I had talked about a couple of episodes back is that we thought we would start off with the lower key. Because we weren't going to go to the park, that we would start with Imagine and then make payments on Imagine, and then when we finally go to the park, we would upgrade to the Dream Keys or the Belief Keys, whatever we were going to. However, we were able to confirm, quick shout out to Heather for helping out with this, that if you decide to upgrade, you are responsible for payment of the entire cost when you upgrade. And that's the only downside to doing it that way, because that would have been ideal for us, where we were able to jump in on the 66 days. We knew we weren't going to go till January, so we're still paying a monthly fee. And then when we're finally ready, we'll upgrade our keys. But having to pay for everything all at once is not a feasible option either. So I guess we have to make up our mind quickly, because like you said, if there was over 1 million people with passes that are just chomping at the bit to possibly get an annual pass again, and now they're going for these Dream Key or one of these Magic Keys, that line of possibly not selling anymore or running out or whatever, or having to wait X amount of years before we can jump in on it again, is the only thing that worries me. And again, family of 4, it is more cost effective at times to have the passes. But again, it would have been a lot more cost effective if they had like a child version of all of the keys, So anyway, let's move on to Disney Genie, because it looks like it's going to be really tightly integrated to the Disneyland apps, both at Disney World and here at Disneyland. If you recall, not too long ago, we were talking about how Disneyland Paris had done something called Disney Premier Access, where they were paying on a per attraction basis. And when you kind of broke it down, they were spending, guests were spending anywhere from like $9 to $18 per attraction in order to enjoy their time at the park, on top of the cost of getting in. Disney Genie is kind of the same thing. Andrew, do you have a bunch of info on Disney Genie that you would like to put out for us here?
Yeah, I don't have anything up, but I can ramble stuff off the top of my head. Disney Genie, there's 3 levels of Disney Genie. There's the standard Disney Genie, which anybody can use. It's integrated in the app. It's kind of like an algorithm-based thing, kind of showing you what is popular right now, what has a short line, kind of helping you build your day, and in theory giving you the best, spending less time in line is the thing that they're trying to do, plus reservations for dining and different things like that in the app. The Disney Genie Plus is the paid version, $15 at Walt Disney World, $20 at Disneyland. And that's your paid Fast Pass thing. You get, I believe they said Disneyland has 15 attractions that will be included in the Disney Genie Plus. They said stuff like Haunted Mansion, Big Thunder Mountain, and Millennium Falcon were included in those, which are attractions that are at both Walt Disney World and Disneyland. So it looks like they're bringing full-time passes to Mansion, which will be interesting, and first time for Millennium Falcon. And then there's another tier which doesn't have a name. Well, I'll talk about this and I'll talk about it later. Another tier that doesn't have a name is the a la carte attractions that you can purchase, like what we were just talking about in Paris. Stuff like Web Slingers, Rise of Resistance, some other, heavy hitter attractions. My guess would be Space Mountain, maybe Toy Story Midway Mania.
Racers, I think, was on that list too.
Yeah, Radiator Springs Racers, yes, thank you. Those will be your pay per attraction, and you're only able to do 2 of those per day in the app. So it's limited for those attractions. You can't just pay your, go one day, okay, I'm going to spend all the money, hop, all the big attractions without waiting in line.
I think they called that feature Lightning Lane.
Well, that's what I was going to get to.
Good point.
The
confusion begins.
Yeah, no, the entire Fast Pass line is now the Lightning Lane. So,
right.
You get Lightning Lane either one, but there's some attractions that it's paid for and some that it's included in Disney Genie Plus with the extra fee. So, and Disney Genie Plus also includes PhotoPass downloads, which used to be included with Max Pass or your annual passes, depending on what pass you had. So that's another feature that kind of became a pay thing again. I mean, yeah. So, a lot of interesting stuff with Disney Genie. We're still trying to figure out a lot of like if this a la carte function is going to have a name or it's just Disney Genie plus. I don't know what's going on. I've also heard that anyone that uses the disabled assistance program, that you'll be able to do you booking your attractions through the Disney Genie section as well once you're registered. I don't know all about that, but that's another feature that it has. So yeah, there's a lot of cool things that Disney Genie has has to offer. It's just kind of sucky
Yeah.
that we have to that it's a thing at all. Larry brought up the point, how dare they use the name Genie. I saw a funny post that said, oh, the lightning lane passes, you book one at a time. You're able to I have so many facts in my head that I keep remembering. Hotel guests are able to pre-buy. This is for Disneyland only. I'll skip the Walt Disney World stuff. Hotel guests are able to purchase the a la carte options starting at 7 a.m. Everybody else, for everything else, even Disney Genie Plus, booking your attractions, you must be in the park and does not start till the park opens. So yeah, there's no pre-booking really. So hotels don't really have the advantage. Now, I don't know 100% if that includes when you go to early magic, extra magic hours, if that starts your time in the park because you've scanned in and So, yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure that will
I think
change,
that's all
though.
the things that are going to come out of my mouth. But yeah.
I'm sure that'll
Lots of
change,
stuff.
though, because you mentioned that the hotels, you don't have an advantage, to setting anything up. I'm pretty sure that Disney will start adding that if you stay on property, they'll give you that ability.
Or it'll be a thing like at Universal Studios, the Orlando. If you stay on property, they give you the Lightning Lane or their front of line pass for free if you stay there. So maybe, who knows if perks like that'll be, free Disney Genie if you stay, or discounted Disney Genie Plus, or something like that. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good observation that maybe stuff will change in the future. And I think the Walt Disney World one, their hotel guests have a little more stuff that they get. I think they might be able to book their Disney Genie Plus attractions starting at 7, as opposed to having to be in the park. So I believe Walt Disney World is a little different. But yeah, there's so much, and there's so many things that are still unanswered that they've announced. So yeah, Disney Genie.
What do you see the perceived value of this being? Because as locals, I think we know how to maneuver the park. I think we got very good at, even when we couldn't get a fast pass or we had to juggle around paper fast passes, we were able to do it all for free, right? We were still able to get on attractions. Granted, we were able to go a lot more frequently without the need for any type of reservation, or limiting the reservations that we could get on a monthly basis in order to go, or per quarter, whatever the case was. I mean, do you find any value in something like Genie or Disney Genie? Because, I mean, look, I hate to say it, but charging for something that was free, like the Fast Pass, and for a system that was pretty broken in many ways, I don't know how the algorithm's going to change it at all. There isn't anything to support that it's going to be any better than the old Fast Pass system.
I think I have a lot more questions. I really want to know what the a la carte prices are for the other attractions that aren't even listed, and to know that the price is going to be, it's going to go either up or down depending on the day. So that's something I really wish I want to know. I wish that was in this presentation. It could have given us a little bit more confidence in it, but it just seems like it's going to be a lot more than what we would actually pay for. And here's the other side that I see from it, and it was brought up in our Discord, is that it is cheaper than a tour guide. I could only see it be done on a special occasion, not every trip. That's not going to happen. That's for me. I don't see myself doing that. But let's say it's a special day, and let's say we're celebrating, where like everyone knows, or you kind of get me.
Yeah.
That's the only way I could think that somebody would get this. It's going to be a lot. I'm a little afraid. I think that's what it is. I'm afraid to learn what the prices are. Again, conflicted.
Yeah.
That's all I could say.
Well, I think for me, looking at it now is, you know, you hear Andrew and even going through it, he's kind of going and we're trying to figure out the complexities of it. And then you hear Melissa conflicted. I think that's kind of the overlying tale for me looking at it. I look at it, the complementary service of it, the Disney Genie baseline, I guess you could call it, as a way for Disney, as you mentioned, Heyzen, like, how is this going to make the park better? I think that's their way to try to make it better because that's the free service. So they're trying to figure out crowd waves and figure out when people use the app more, you know, they're going to feel a lot more better because they think I'm coming at this in a smarter way. And our generation is well built into using apps to get things done. So they can see the way things are going on a day. You know, they've already got the reservation system in place. Now this is that extra tier to know about lines, restaurant wait list, you know, check-ins, mobile order, ride virtual queues. It's a way to build that if everyone uses it. And then you go to the other tier, so the people that are thinking maybe they want a little more, you go to that Disney Genie Plus that includes the lightning lane and the, you know, photo pass section for the day. I mean, it's a good sell for someone that we don't know which, you know, we know what kind of rides are going to be on there, but we don't exactly. It's a good sell because you remember the Max Pass. It's pretty much that same idea of if you're looking at just the lightning lane option, you can only get one at a time until you use one up or until like a certain hour allotment, right? It really follows that window. And it being $20 a day, I think it goes into Melissa's exact wording of that will be like a special friend, you know, or family moment where like we got this one time we're at the park, $20 for each of us. Not a bad sale to go on to use. It's something that I could see people using for sure. Now the lightning lane itself, that individual pass one, this is where we start getting complex. And I feel when you start adding all these layers and tiers of, just like when the passes kind of change from like, why are we following Apple with Plus and Max and all these extra additions? You're really causing a bigger problem to the guest, which is it's not, you know, it's a almost relive an old type technology, which was pay per ride. That's what people are going to hear. They're not going to hear the innovation part of we're helping you map your day. They're going to hear, well, they did this back in the early like 60s and 70s. It didn't work out. The e-ticket thing, you know, backfired. And that's when ticket prices were really, really low to get in the park. That's not the same model here anymore. So that's I think you're going to hear the general audience immediately become back offish to that. You know, for me, just speaking on me, I see the innovation part of it, but I also see the complexity, and I'm like, this is confusing for anybody, and it's unfortunate because now you're going to cause another layer of people were mad with lines, but now they're going to be like, I don't even know how to get on a ride's lightning lane. I don't know what that is. What happened to Fast Pass? What do you mean I have to go to the restaurant? Like, am I supposed to use this app? Do I not have to use it? It causes a little bit more that I doubt the average traveler or maybe even key member goes into the park thinking about immediately when they walk in.
Yeah, that comparison to the e-ticket system, I think is a really, really good one because that's kind of what it feels like. You know, buying a ticket book and then you have the attractions that you can ride for one of those tickets that you're turning in. In this case, it's just a virtual version of that same ticket. You know, and I've been doing a lot of thinking about where the value for Disney is in this. And I know that everybody's immediate response is, well, they're taking $20 from us or whatever, $15 if you're at Walt Disney World. And, to answer your question, Mel, if Paris is any indication, they're charging anywhere from $9 to $18 per attraction when you go a la carte. So being that in the U.S., people or consumers tend to pay a little bit more, I'm thinking it's going to be anywhere from like 10 to 20 to maybe even $25 for certain attractions on peak days, right? And I started wondering, like, what is the real value that Disney's getting out of this app? Think about what your smartphone does already. You know, everybody's been talking this entire year, you know, about this vaccine and, you know, blah, 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 this and blah, they're tracking you that. No. The tracking is already happening in your pocket with a smartphone, right? That smartphone knows way more than even you know about yourself. and a lot of it is
Yeah.
subconscious. A lot of it is just, how you maneuver, how you use your apps, where you go. It's tracking everything that you do. So what if Disney does the same thing with Genie? What if the pull for them isn't the $20 a month that they're getting, or the $20 per visit that they're getting, but more importantly, the patterns that you're creating by what attractions you go on, where you tend to eat all the time. And, once they have that data, I'm almost positive that we're going to start to see ads in the Disneyland app at some point, where if they know that every single time that you go, you use Disney Genie to get on Haunted Mansion, then you're going to see an ad that says, hey, we have this brand new Haunted Mansion pin that you might be interested in purchasing on shopdisney.com. Because now they have all this additional data on you that tells them what you like, what your patterns are, and how you are more valuable in their eyes. The trends that we are seeing essentially point to you being just on that consumer level. They don't see us as guests. They see us as money entering the park. We've talked about this before. Yes, Disney's a magical place. We buy into the magic that they create, but they're a business overall. And all I could think of was they're just I feel like they're using Disney, and this isn't some conspiracy theory or anything. I don't want it to sound like that. I'm just saying that these apps already track what we do. This is just next level tracking to help them market things that you might be interested in. And at that point, you're more valuable on that consumer level because they're catering to exactly what you like.
Can I throw a silly request out there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Since we're talking about tracking and, ads and whatnot, Disney sends some coupons our way, Let's say, no, I'm just saying,
really.
what if, an attraction doesn't have a wait or something, and they're like, hey, it's half off. I don't know. Just trying to make...
Yeah, that thought you say is interesting, because I thought... Sorry, Melissa, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, fine. I cut off Heyzen. I'm sorry.
If Lightning Lane doesn't work out the way they're thinking, I feel like that's what will happen, what you just said. Where they're going to be like, today, guess what? You're a complimentary Lightning Lane for today. Even you had to buy Disney Plus. Let's keep that clear, right? You had to buy, Genie Plus.
Genie. I know there's so many.
Oh,
Disney
go.
Genie Plus. No, Disney Genie Plus.
And let's
You
say
have to call
Lightning
it
Lane's not
Disney.
doing well. They're going to be like, a little perk for you. We know you like the, Radiator Racers. We're giving you a complimentary one. It's like 11 o'clock or some weird time to get you to veer over there. Like Heyzen's talking about, the logarithm of, we need you to move over here, but we're giving you something free. And I think you're onto something, Melissa. You definitely are. That's why I laugh. Not laughing at you. I'm laughing.
Oh, no,
'cause
it's fine.
That's the thought. Seriously. It's in Heyzen's thought, too.
You're at the Tiki Room. Would you like 25% off a Dole Whip?
We need to keep you here.
That's too much, man. Let's be
Right?
realistic. It's more like a 10% discount.
10%.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wouldn't make sense because your pass already has a 15% discount, so
Oh,
That's
that's
true.
you have to get something above
You
your
get
pass
an
discount.
extra straw for free.
Yeah. Yeah, go to the Tiki
Here's
Room and
some
get
napkins.
a free plastic stir stick. As soon as it was announced, I went and did a bad thing. Not a bad thing. But I went and looked through the comments on some of these Instagram posts. And people are really reaming this a new one, which is understandable. But here's the big but. You don't have to use this service.
Yeah.
You're not required to use this service. It's something, they took FastPass away. Okay, yeah, that stinks. But we've been dealing with no FastPass for this long already. It's not like they punched you in the face and took your kid or something. I don't know. It's just some of these comments, Walt Disney never would have done something like this.
Oh.
This is something. Walt Disney was a businessman. He would have done whatever it took to, get money. But also he had no, but he also had no concept of a smartphone or the internet or algorithms or anything. So there's no way to know what Walt Disney would have wanted. So it's kind of that should just be off the table at this point. But this is something that's partially free, partially paid for, that you don't have to use. You can still enter the park, ignore Disney Genie 100%. You can go through your day, not even have to thinking about it, and still enjoy your day. In theory, or here's my theory, that Disney Genie is either going to be smash hit or it's not going to be very popular at all. And if that's true, then the lines are still going to be shorter, like we've talked about in the past, where there's less people in the fast pass lane, lightning lane. So that makes the standard line go faster, which is good for everybody. Mm-hmm. If you don't want to use it, don't. And you know what? If nobody uses it, then something's going to change with Disney Genie, because if it becomes not popular, they're going to realize real quickly. They might realize real quickly and still hold out for a little while, but that's how you show people what you want. You show them with your pocketbook. I'm not going to use this service, because I don't like it, XYZ, and if enough people don't, then they see the error in their ways, if that's what happens. So I kind of got a bad taste in my mouth with, I shouldn't go looking on Instagram comments, because people were, pulling out the Walt Disney card, pulling out the all kinds of, this is ruining my vacation. This is ruining everything because you're stealing this money from me. And it's like, but you don't have to use it. So it was a bad idea to do that.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Disney Genie is that they are trying to make your vacation easier, right? By planning out the itinerary, by having, the algorithms do the work for you. They are trying to make it a more enjoyable stay for you. Is it coming at a cost? Absolutely. All technology comes with some kind of cost, right? You don't have an electric car that costs the same as a 1990 Honda Civic, and you have to pay for that technology. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of services out there that already provide really stellar ways of planning out your day. Touring Plans is one of those companies that's been around for years, and I think they've nailed down how to do that. And it kind of baffles me that Disney didn't just extend an offer and say, hey, we like what you're doing. We're going to do this with Disney Genie. We just want to buy you out or something. Because it would have been a lot more effective. Now, again, I can't speak on how Genie is going to work yet, because we don't know. We're not in the park. We haven't tested it. It could be way better than Touring Plans, but who knows, right? Until we see it in practice, we're not going to know how effective it is. But I can say that fast passes were not very effective. And so having to pay for Lightning Lane, for something, it's essentially a paid fast pass now that wasn't working before. If they've put that into the algorithm somehow that's going to make it a little bit easier, then great. But if all they did was do a virtual version of it and it didn't help it at all, then obviously it's not worth the cost. I guess we're just going to have to see once it launches. I'm sure we're going to see tons of videos of people using it and putting it to practice, and what we're going to start to hear some of the complaints about it and everything. And like you said, Andrew, it is going to be one of those things where it's either going to be really greatly received because it's just going to be a smash hit because it just works and it makes your day better, or it's just going to completely fail because people are not going to see the value. I don't think we're the audience for this, though. I do believe that the audience is the people that are generally out vacationing at Walt Disney World. I think they're trying to make the Disneyland Resort more like a vacation destination, just like Walt Disney World. And, bringing some of the features that they have is just their way of stepping in that direction. They're trying to. That's why the prices are so much more expensive. They're much more catered to people that are going on vacation 1 or 2 times a year versus the annual pass holders that were taking up space all the time, like we were. That seems to be the trend that they're going in now.
Well, you generally make more money off of somebody that's coming on vacation because they're going to be paying for all the little things and all the because
Absolutely.
They want, this is a special trip, which I 100% agree with. Annual pass holders were clogging up
Key.
the thing and making it annual
Oh,
pass holders
annual
at
pass
the time.
before.
I'm talking about the pass.
pass.
We're clogging up the parks and making it unenjoyable for people that are paying the top dollar for the tickets and coming from Wisconsin to California for their once in 5 year trip
Yeah.
to Disneyland, and then they can ride 6 rides because they don't know the way to do it, and it was just slam packed. So it makes sense that they're trying to cater to the ticketed people, which is great. And you know what? That's what makes it great about having an annual pass or Magic Key now, that you'll get to go more often. And hey, you don't get to do all 50 attractions in both parks in one day. Yeah, but you can come back.
Absolutely.
That's the whole point of having an annual pass.
Yep. Absolutely.
And you know what? Thinking of this, okay, before you end, because I know you're going to end, think of all the Fast Pass machine locations that are now going to be, stroller parking? I don't know what they're going to be now, but maybe we'll get strollers out of the middle of the walkway, which will be nice if that's what they end up taking
In
all the
Disneyland,
Fast
right?
Pass.
I don't know
yeah,
how it's
Disneyland.
but that's a good point. Disneyland.
Yeah, Disney World, they've taken all because it was Magic Bands and everything, so they didn't have any paper machines recently, so there's a little kiosk. So, but yeah, Disneyland has a bunch of little alcoves with all these Fast Pass machines that are going to be defunct or are currently defunct now. So that'll be interesting to see what happens with those. Anyway, now we can end this long episode. You can 3D print a little memorial tombstone for the Fast Pass machines or the Fast Pass system in general.
I want a 3D print electric Honda Civic. That's what I think I'm going to ask Heyzen for if he's going to get it.
Yeah, buddy.
Can't
See?
afford one, right?
You see how many times this 3D printing thing is coming up? It's a sign.
I just feel like everybody's on the boat to jump on your 3D printer.
Look, like I
You're
said,
Yeah.
in the check line.
like I said, as long as you buy the filament, I will be more than happy to test on your products.
All right,
I may
time
mess
to
it up.
know
You have
Honda
to.
Civic.
You might have to buy 2 or 3, and that Honda Civic might be super
Okay.
tiny, but we'll make it happen.
Jeez, if I could fit my thumb in there, might work.
Perfect. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. If you have any thoughts on Disney Genie, the Magic Keys, anything really that we talked about in this episode, we'd love for you to join the conversation over on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. But honestly, we'd love to have you over as part of our Discord family. We'd love to continue the conversation there. So if you are not yet a member, make sure to go to podketeers.com for the invite link, or you can go to podketeers.com/375 and sign up through the link there. Any closing thoughts before we wrap this one?
Go to Spirit Halloween. Let me know if you find any more Haunted Mansion stuff.
Right
Put it
on.
on the Discord. I
Right
need it.
on. We're just going to have to start a section on Discord where it's like Andrew's Collectibles. And then people can just go in and sell you stuff or whatever. Yeah.
And yeah, let me know about all the collectibles you find. Perfect. Yeah, it sounds like a perfect section for me.
All right, that's it.
Love
That's
it.
going to wrap it up. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep moving forward, and always remember to pass on the magic. Have a fantastic week, everyone.
Bye.
See ya.
I saw the signs.